Brothers and sisters, this is part 8. And this has to do with, again, the example of these two beautiful women and what they were teaching us, what Queen Vashti was teaching us, and what Queen Esther was teaching us. And, as the women stand firm now in their convictions of what they have learned and the healing that they have went through, standing fast now as they help their husbands and their kings step forward. And so I wanted to share this. Submitting to your husband does not mean standing in agreement with evil. And that was the lesson from Queen Vashti. Her union was being mistreated, and her worth as a woman was being mistreated. And so she was not standing in agreement with that. And so understanding that submitting to your husbands means submitting to your husband as they are truly being led by the Spirit. And as women have been walked through this process, we understand creation law, we understand how the healing works. We're in that true relationship with Yahshua, with Father and Mother, and so we are able to stand in the convictions that we have been given. And so it's not now going back to what makes our husbands comfortable. It's now standing steadfast in our convictions, and that helps pull them, elevate them to the higher level that they are to achieve now. As we have been pulled out of the dark and into the light, now they are being pulled out of that dark and into the light. So it's really important that we don't get sucked back into the darkness of that. So we're going to stand firm in the convictions that we've been given. And so that was the beauty of what Queen Vashti did. She stood her ground and said, no, this is wrong, and I'm not standing in agreement with it anymore. And, and then Queen Esther had the things on her side of breaking that patriarchal dominance and helping her king actually see where he had gotten, where Haman had taken him. So if we understand, Queen Vashti was the worldly woman. She was awakened, and that's now the symbolism of Queen Esther. And when she was awakened, the king could not understand what was happening, and he dismissed her because he couldn't see it through spiritual eyes. He was seeing it through the eyes of the flesh. So Queen Esther was helping now see it through the spiritual eyes and not the eyes of the flesh. And so that represents first marriage, worldly marriage, it dies, and second marriage is born, and it's kingdom union. So with that being said, I'm going to share an experience. Me and my husband had went to Hawaii, and we were at the doll plantation, and we were a lady had asked my husband if he wanted to open up a clamshell and see if there was a pearl in it. And if any of you understand anything about pearls, they are, well, the clamshell is extremely tight. Not a lot gets in, but the little grains of sand get in, and that's what actually makes or breaks a pearl. And many don't survive it because it's a grinding process, right? And through kingdom unions, you go through that grinding process, that refining process. And a clamshell protects that pearl. So with that being said, the symbolism of this is really beautiful. And if I was at my house, I would be able to show you these because they are absolutely precious. My husband opens up this first clamshell, and there was one single pearl in it, and it was black and purple, and it had kind of colors of the rainbow through it. And the woman was like, wow, those are extremely rare. And he had this beautiful necklace made for me out of that. And then when he was done having the necklace made, she had said, well, since you got a pearl in the first one, go ahead and, I'll let you open a second one for free. And he opens up the second pearl, and it is 2 twin pearls, and they're purple. And again, she was like, oh my goodness, those are so rare, let alone 2. So I was taken back to that and the beauty and symbolism of that, because then what he did was then he had earrings made out of it with these 2 pearls. And with our kingdom unions, just shielding and protecting them and not letting the world in is so important. And so this is the process of weeding the world out. So we're in the world, but not of the world. And so that clamshell is so protected. Those pearls are so protected through this process. So, these women said, I'm going to stand no matter what. I'm going to stand for my virtue. I'm going to stand up for my beliefs. And that was what these women were displaying. And so as we understand that the family's here, and we all have healing to do on one level or another. The breaking of generational curses of sexual iniquity, and seeing that how important it is that as the men held a space for the women, even if the men did not understand what they were doing when they were holding that space for our healing, now the women hold the space for the men as the men rise, and we share this same extended grace and mercy and love to them. Because I've shared this before, but as generational curses are broken, and sexual iniquity, all the things that have to be broken off of this world, patriarchal dominance, we're going to see the worst in people, because those characteristics have to be brought into the light. The darkness has to be brought into the light so it can be healed. So we need to be prepared for the fact that, yes, we went through it, and and the men have to go through that. And some of those experiences of things they have to heal from are going to be extremely hard, but it's standing your ground. It's seeing it through heaven's eyes. It's seeing in the spiritual and understanding it from the spiritual perspective. So again, holding our unions really tight and seeing it through heaven's eyes and not the eyes of the flesh. Okay, so this is kind of a warning to women as we went through this process to now, again, stand our ground and see, that all that Satan has to use is people and situations and circumstances. And so Satan is going to use very convincing things that look like light, and okay, well, that could sound right. It's so important that we absolutely return a report to everything that we hear and use that discernment to be able to see it truly as it is, and not let the fear and the doubt come in, because that can alter the way that we see it. So, Satan can come in through dreams, visions, people, conversations. The key is, do not doubt what you know. Satan will have people say it is of God, but yet it's breaking his own laws. And if God made them for our protection, why would he break his own laws? That's a really big question to ask ourselves. Why would he break his own law? So that is a big red flag for us. They make you feel that you have no choice. When you feel that you are backed into a wall, and that you have no choice, that is absolutely not a father, because we all have our agency to choose for ourselves. And so if you're being backed into a wall, that is a big red flag that it is, and you feel like that you don't have a choice whether you participate in something or not. That is a big red flag that it is not of God. They use titles, and the world is huge on titles, right? That people have power and authority over you. Father is no respecter of persons, and he does not use titles to control his people. We all came here with the ability to choose for ourselves, and Father will not take that away from any of his children. Father and mother, that is a beautiful gift that we have fought for, to be able to choose for ourselves, to be on this earth at this time to choose for ourselves, and they will not take that away from us. So if someone is using a title over you to get you to comply with what they want to do, using, a name, a title, I'm a pastor, I'm a bishop, I'm a priest, I'm a leader of some sort, they mean nothing. They mean nothing. Stand in your convictions. So using titles, people that will try to convince you they're doing this for your good. Big red flag. Asking for permission to perform acts of evil against you. So beware of that. So if someone is saying, I just, this is really for your good, but I need your permission to do it. No, light connects to light, and you don't need permission in order to do that. But if you are connecting darkness to the light, you're going to need permission to do that, because that's how the adversary works. So, remembering that Satan has come to cause division in these unions. And so this is why, especially in these unions, he does not want these people together, because they are powerhouses. And it is a huge threat to the adversary and his plan. So this is why they had me use the clamshell and the pearl in the beginning. Keep your union shielded and protected, but also understanding that submitting to your husband does not mean submitting to darkness and lies and manipulation and acts of secrecy, secret combinations, deceit, deception, division, any of that. And so stand your ground. This sexual iniquity that has to be broken off of this world is horrific all in itself. Stand your ground in who you are, because as the women stand their ground and their conviction, the men will heal from this. If women are vulnerable to these things that the adversary will bring forward, it doesn't bring healing. It won't bring healing to them, because then it's just it's acts of the flesh that continue to just be justified. And that's not of Heavenly Father. It never has been, and it never will be. So the healing of the nation started with the mothers, now to the husbands, and it goes on to the children. And so if you truly want to heal your posterity, be the helpmates now that your husbands truly need. Stand your ground. Don't back down. And be the light that they desperately need at this time in their life. Have a wonderful day.